Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on our next Cloudteam webinar. This morning, we're going to be looking at CloudBudget, and I'm really pleased to say that I'm joined by Ralph Fardendorp, who's going to be leading the webinar, focusing on budgeting on the Salesforce platform. Usual bits of admin. We are recording this, so we will share it with all registrants, and you better find it on our website too. And if you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat box down at the bottom. And we'll make sure that we leave time at the end to get round to them. But other than that, Ralph, I'll hand things over to you.
Thanks, Stefan. Yeah, this webinar is the topic is budgeting on the Salesforce platform. We have been partnering with a new app which is called CloudBudget. This app has been integrated with Financial Force, so we thought it would be an excellent idea to miss a gap actually to bring also now the budgeting on the platform. I will first show a few slides and then we'll go directly into the system itself. So as you can see, we try to advocate the digital transformation to all companies that we deliver our services. So Financial Force and Salesforce keeps everything, every business process for you on the same platform, except where we see in the budget preparation, because so far the budgets are stored in Financial Force compared with actuals, but actually to create this budget data, you need to go to an external system like Excel or Google Documents, and there you can actually fill in templates that are linked to general ledger accounts and dimensions in Financial Force. And then using that, actually, you can use Excel Loader in order to import then your budget data back into Financial Force. So actually, this is a kind of the current way of working. You create a kind of a template sheet, you fill in the general ledger accounts. Sometimes it's based on another kind of report that then has formulas to this type of budget sheet. And I think for some people already using it, it's quite familiar. Using Excel Loader in order for you to populate the data set of the budgets in the reporting balances. Now, so we didn't think this is really the most advanced way of working. So looking at CloudBudget, we actually discovered that they already start working on Financial Force configuration. And the last 6 months, we worked together with them in order to optimize the way of working from questions that we already got from Financial Force users, and see how actually this integration would work. So as you can see, this Financial Force integration is really linking companies. CB accounts is actually general ledger accounts, but also the 4 dimensions, and able to bring the data from Financial Force to CloudBudget to actually base your budgets on actuals. And then in order to then import the budget entries, we will use the feature from CloudBudget to Financial Force back again, and then select the budget set. In order to show you how we could set up the budget app itself, you can either budget on company level and then create budget apps by company, but even on dimension level, you can create budget apps. So for example, a consolidated budget for the Merlin Tech Inc. company is then broken down by dimension 1. So dimension 1 actually here is being used in this scenario in order to create budget sheets for different department managers. And then actually they will be able to work on it, see only their own sheet, and then the controller would be able to see even the consolidated budget. Actually then the way it would work is that the users, the business unit managers, could actually then enter their data based on different quarters or months. Actually, it's the way you will set up the budget. You can either ask them to budget by quarter or by months on general ledger level and also on dimension level, and see actually on the total directly the results in their income and expense. You can also see already the buttons here that you can export and import from Excel or Google or create a PDF. So let's say the moral of the story is why we think CloudBudget is a really good tool, and it really worked to actually explore it in order to see if it would help you to to optimize and to also improve your budgeting cycle is actually because it really easily integrates back and forth with Financial Force. It's integrated with dimensions and actuals. We can also apply calculation rules. So I'll show you later how it would work in order to, let's say, assign business rules to certain general ledger account balances in order to calculate percentages and post them to another type of account. And still, if users want to use the flexibility of Google or Excel in order to quickly enter some results, they still can very easily export and import it to Excel. So that's basically the first part, just to give you an idea. So let's go to CloudBudget. So CloudBudget itself, so we have kind of a home page where we have some starting options, for example, of seeing actually what budget years are on the companies that we're selecting, and even you can set up some scenarios for your budgets. What we will normally do is directly go to the CB budget. That would be, for my purpose, normally my starting page as a user. But just to quickly recap a bit Financial Force. If I'm using, for example, Einstein Analytics, so this tool comes now with Financial Force, the statements, but also the analytics dashboard. Standard comparison can be set from actuals, but can be compared to budget. So if I'm using this budget, and I will use this demo database to compare actuals versus budgets for whatever company or whatever year, it used the reporting balances. The reporting balances are being calculated based on the actuals. So in the Financial Force, the configuration, you can either choose to update budget and balances or reporting balances. And reporting balances are linked directly to Analytics Studio in order for Financial Force to create these type of dashboards to see details from budgets versus revenues, to actually create also multiple budget sets, because the best way of working with reporting balances is that you can have multiple budget sets. So you can create an estimate for 2021, and also during the year you can reforecast on 2021 and have these kind of budget sets next to each other. So with budget and balances, you only have one budget set. Reporting balances, you can have many. And just a quick view on the reporting balances list view. For example, these kind of actuals are always being computed based on the intersect definition. And that's a difficult name for a kind of a summary balances. So if a combination is being used from a period, a company, and dimensions and a general ledger, it will just update the actual balance based for that period. And it will do it automatically in the actual budget type of the reporting balances. But if I'm just opening the types in order for you to see the pick list that is behind it, you can see that there's also reporting balances able for budget, forecast, a kind of a custom type forecast one, but it could be on headcounts, also statistical data, or on volumes, or even on shares, if you would like to report on those. So the budget reporting balances is very flexible in order to store different sets of data, but still assign them to a general ledger account and dimensions in order to compare the different budget sets. So this basis, this actuals, will be the basis actually then to create the budget in CloudBudget. So for example, in the app other and then Financial Force integration, this actually is the one-time setup where we will do the mapping. So what it does actually, it checks the number of companies in Financial Force, the number of general ledger accounts, and link them to CB accounts, CloudBudget accounts, link the dimensions, and as you can see, it's just a kind of automatic synchronization. So this is a one-time setup. And then actually, at the time you want to start your budgeting, you enter the app from Financial Force to CloudBudget. You can still create filters, additional filters. So in this case, actually, there's only one company or the intersect definition is being used, and the owner company, the PTI. And actually, it creates a kind of a configuration. So next year, I'll only have to add a configuration from actuals 2020 to plan 2021. If that is done, I can just press this button, and then actually the import will start and data will actually be brought into CloudBudget from Financial Force. Also, what you can see is that once you're finished, the same way actually is to just run the CB to Financial Force export back again. And then actually you select for Financial Force in which type of budget set it should come. So if you do a reforecast, you only just click the new budget type and it will update the second budget type, forecast 1, for example, in order to then compare your forecast with forecast 1 or whatever name you give it. So this is actually the part where we're doing the setup of the system. Now, another thing that is part of setting up the system is actually to create calculation rules, because this is a very strong feature that enables you in order to show actually kind of the business rules as I explained. So there are a few rules here set up in order to use in this demo. One calculation rule, for example, is that, and it's called a kind of a calculation rule 10% of support, that whenever you update an amount in the sales support general ledger account for this specific period, so you can also make them applicable for a year, so you can see actually if the percentage changed, then actually the system will calculate 10% of the balance and post it, the result, into employee benefits. And if you want to update any of the Financial Force dimensions, it will automatically take over this filter. And you see here also the filter, so you can even really narrow it down to only specific dimensions, or you can create for dimensions different percentages. So this is what we call a simple dependency. CloudBudget already trained me a little bit on it, but they really show me that they can make very complex type of calculations in order to support all kind of automations. So this is a 10%, for example. I tried this rule, also not a very difficult one. For example, I've got cost of goods sold on a product, and whenever I post the cost of goods sold, again, 10% will be calculated as a kind of a provision for freight cost. So it just depends actually on the type of business, how you would be able to calculate these type of formulas. Then actually the second part would be to go to CB budget. So this is actually the app just shown on the print screen, where we've got the consolidated budget, and we see also the high level, the results, the income and expense results and total for that year. What is already being entered. And as you can see, it's being imported from actuals from 2019, and then it will be let's say changed and be updated for people working on it. We create also some other budget apps, which I will show you later what the purpose of these apps are. But let's say the first 3 apps are based on the company Merlin Tech, and also the company, the 3 dimensions, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Boston. If I just click on the app, it will drill down directly on showing it also on a monthly basis. So first I had only the totals by year, and now I can also click on the consolidated app and then see on a monthly basis movements in the different dimensions for the consolidated income and consolidated expense accounts in order to show the revenue that has been and the margin has been created. There's this button show more, and actually that will show more details of the different apps that are below these kind of income. So let's drill down into a kind of a smaller entity, which is Boston, just by clicking on it. And this app can be then linked to a permission via permission only to users that have that you grant rights for this for the income and to maintain or view actually budget data. So what we are seeing here is actually the calculation from 2019, and if 2019 has not been completed, then you can see, for example, that in 11 and 12 there's still almost nothing or some test data, because normally when you start budgeting for the next year and you base it on your budget data, the current year is not completely finished. So it could be a reason that you still want to complete those years. In order to enter, I can show this more button, because then I see also that it's based on the dimensions that are being taken over. So sales product, as you can see, is healthcare. And actually on this one, there's no dimension being entered. But still I can, by the way, update dimensions. So if I want to, for example, next to healthcare, I want to create a government as a dimension. I just enter it, and also dimensions can be maintained on my dimension 1, which is actually Boston. So being a business manager for Boston, I will be able then to maintain also dimensions, create also new lines, and then directly can enter into the sheet. And as you can see that if I'm starting to enter, directly the margin is actually being calculated. So just, I know it's, you need to follow it, but you can see that things are really changing now. And yeah, it's just like this, that I can enter data, and the system based on the income and expense account will automatically calculate it, whether it's a revenue or cost, to put a minus in front of it or plus. So the thing that for accounting people to convince their staff in order that revenue should always be minus, you don't need to do that if they enter on an income account. Now this is one way of entering data. Another way is, for example, to use Google Drive. So if I open the Google Drive set, because it's so easy, so it's still something to be used. If I click on the budget to Google Drive, the system is now exporting my budget app to my Google Drive. So it's been uploaded. I can see here now the Merlin Tech Boston as a kind of an Excel document. I open it in Google Drive, and actually I'm now being able to, now actually my link is there. I can just quickly then go to the different columns that I just entered to see the amounts I just entered. I can change them now by, for example, by putting some other amounts in. So of course, I mean, I can also use other data for this. Automatically, because of the Google Drive system, it's saved. So if I'm now click on the link Google Drive back to budget, system is now importing the file. I have to wait a few seconds until this has been, this confirmation has been shown. And as you can see, it's now the changed numbers for my directly imported from Google Drive. So it's really easy tool. And the only thing what you need to know is that your Google Drive has been assigned to your user in Salesforce. As you can see, there's a kind of expense account on this simple example. It's marketing. But if you want to calculate actually one of the calculation rules based on the sales support, I can actually enter an amount on sales support, and then apply the calculation rule of 10% of sales support in order to calculate an employee benefit. So if I'm now opening this window and I say, go to calculation rules, or click on the calculation rules, it says calculation rules now applied to the app. So if I'm just looking down now to my expense accounts, I actually see that not only employee benefits is being created as a line, and with this little symbol, you can see it's actually a formula which has been created, but also telephone costs, because apparently there was another calculation rule which would create telephone expenses also based on an input from revenue accounts. But as you can see, the 1 million here has been now updated to 100,000, so the 10%, but also from the existing balances, it would automatically create the 10% cost in accrual in order to directly keep my budget in sync based on business rules that I've created. So if you, for example, have statistical accounts, and I spoke, for example, with Bart already about it, who's also in our call, is that you could, for example, create a reporting balance based on number of members and number of memberships and align with the amounts, where you can actually apply this calculation rule in order to calculate. One could be the revenue or the income calculated, but another thing could be, let's say, a provision for administration cost with another percentage. So a lot of things can be automatically computed directly from a calculation rule that you define. And you will be sure that if whenever your team start working on this budget sheet, that they can only use calculation rules and models set up by yourself. Now the system was able to have also another feature, and at the moment I'm working with CloudBudget on also making this able for Financial Force. At the moment it's not directly integrated, but this additional feature, and you see that actually this shopping cart, that allows the system, when I'm opening this line, to directly use a product from Salesforce products. Then it will update the product price based on the standard price book or the price book that you actually link to this product. And then with numbers you can budget on this product, it will calculate the income amount from the price book. So then actually, yeah, it even, you don't need the statistical accounts, which you can directly then budget on the products. But at the moment, they did not manage to report back the reporting balances based on product lines. So we're still working on that. It will, I think, they will be able to manage that in the course of Q4 of this year. But so far it is already, let's say, in the standard product, but not directly in the integration to Financial Force. So Financial Force only now updates income amounts, and then the or general ledger accounts is not directly related to product information. But on the reporting balances, the product is already there. So Financial Force is already prepared in order to be able to use this data when it comes back from CloudBudget. So I think the only thing for me to remain for this short webinar, in order to give you an idea, is just the final thing. And actually you see here, there's now a kind of a beta function that I requested at CloudBudget for you, enable to make a kind of a rolling forecast. So at the time your actuals are being updated, and now you want to present your business unit manager a revised year-end estimate, and also give him the ability in order to reforecast the remaining budget periods. So for example, it's now July. I'm closing July within a week in August. And then actually I want to create and convert the actuals to the forecast budget app by just clicking this button. It will update a new scenario for 2020 at the moment, giving the opportunity to change the coming periods from August until December, and then import it back to to my budget sheet in Financial Force, and then, for example, call it forecast period 8. So you can see all kind of forecasts from 8 till 12, and still compare them to see why they make every time a variance, or what is actually the change. Of course, there's about the budgets, you still have in the budget apps the option to chat with each other. So once a business manager is finished and you want to actually communicate or discuss different types of scenarios, you just chat on the app directly, and directly via email you will be able to link and open this budget set. So we've got still 5 minutes left, and we should consider some time for asking questions. So I don't know if there are already questions based on this short demo that I gave about CloudBudget. And don't forget to unmute yourself if you have a question. Or was it also crystal clear? And
thanks for that, Ralph. I think there is a comment from Bart in the chat box, which was asking if you'll address the use of statistical data, which I know you touched on, but also approval cycle. So, Bart, feel free to unmute yourself if you've got any further questions in that area.
Yeah, so I would like to know how you control the upload of the budget in the stage where it's not yet approved and where it's an approved budget. The other question that I would have is, do all Salesforce licenses that you would want to incorporate, do they have to have a license for this as well? Or can they work on it separately?
Yeah, well, the first question actually is that you can freeze a budget. So as soon as you think, let's say the consolidated budget, I'm happy with it. This is something maybe is being discussed already by the board. You can use even reports from CloudBudget to use it before you upload it to Financial Force. So you determine actually what moments you actually used in order to use this as a basis for reporting, or for example, first post it to Financial Force and then compare it with actuals. So that's something, yeah, you need to decide what fits best for your organization. But you can freeze the budget because I just need to remove this. Yeah, so based on the scenarios and then in the homepage, you can actually allow them to still edit budgets, or now you say, okay, we'll now start to freeze it. You can even freeze it by different app. So one app can be still open because a person is on holiday, and the others can already be locked. Yeah. So that's actually about the approval page. Yeah, about the licenses. CloudBudget comes with its own licenses because it's a custom object. So it will supply platform licenses, but apart from that, you need CloudBudget license. The user that will work on the budget app, which sees, for example, dimensions and general ledger accounts, actually will see CloudBudget dimensions and CloudBudget general ledger accounts. So they don't need actually Financial Force licenses in order to work on the budget. They only need CloudBudget licenses. So I hope that's answering your question, Bart. I see you knocking. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Ralph. Just one more question from me. How the visibility of the budgets at different levels work? Is it according to roles or?
No, it's actually the visibility. So what you see actually is being shown is that when you synchronize the different accounts, general ledger accounts to from Financial Force in CloudBudget, they will be linked to the general ledger type. So if it's an income or an expense type, and you can still modify that. It's been actually created automatically based on the trial balance levels. So if your trial balance 1, 2, 3, 4, in order to aggregate your general ledger accounts, those actually will predetermine whether it's an income account or an expense account. And there you can even make more levels. But to keep it simple for business unit managers, you can also make only a subset available of the general ledger accounts. And then they only will see actually the accounts that have actual numbers from 2019 in order then to update in 2020. Is that answering your question, Farhan?
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Makes sense.
Rolf, this is Thijs from Computest.
Thijs, good morning.
Good morning. I'm very nice to see that that it's possible to build your revenue budget from Salesforce price book and products, but I was also wondering if it's possible to have maybe more options to build on the cost side, your cost building up by some customized objects, for example, based on staff cost building up by your own customized categories you have, or maybe also other cost categories we have. So is customized, can you customize some things in CloudBudget to build up cost on the general ledger account? So if I will go then to a manager here, that he's filling in some variables and then it's automatically calculating the costs.
Well, the easiest way to keep it all standard would be to use that data that the manager would enter in your custom objects and to link that to reporting balances, statistic data, because then you keep everything in the same object. And if that, for example, would create statistical data for a number of staff, for example, as a statistical amount, you can then import it automatically in the budget app via the Financial Force integration. To use, let's say, custom objects directly into the system is something, we need to inquire at CloudBudget, and I'm happy to do that and include you in this question if you want to.
Yes. Okay. That's
Maybe
fine. Yeah.
if you could make it a bit more specific with the screen print of the app or the information you would like to bring across to CloudBudget. We will bring you in contact with the support at CloudBudget, and they answer normally within a few days. So that should be possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's now 10 o'clock, so we are actually at the end of the webinar. I see one question from Bart. Just the last one, Bart.
Yeah, so the last one. How would you share the information with staff outside the ones who have access to the budget folder, to the budget app? Would you be able to download it and share it, or?
Yeah, well then actually please use the Google Drive as an example which I created, because you can actually share the Google Drive document which I've shown you.
Or the
they
PDF.
Can just update this Google Drive document. So this can easily be shared, and if you receive, it's updated and you receive back that has been updated, you just upload it yourself into CloudBudget by just send Google Drive back to Budget. So then actually they don't need even a kind of a CloudBudget app. Yeah, but then it's actually you that it needs to maintain it and import it, export it.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks for your attention. Looking forward. If you have any inquiries or want to see more information, we are happy to answer that and help you out to find out if this is a good alternative for you for your budgeting cycle. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.